Welcome back, everybody, to Career Convos Beyond the Resume. And today we are incredibly grateful for the presence of our provost, Dr. Clark.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Ask you, like, your first job, and how did it lead you to the point where you are now?
So my first job out of college?
Yeah, I'll say like out of college. Yeah.
Okay. So after my undergraduate, I went to graduate school.
Okay.
And I got my chemistry degree, got my PhD. My first job was as a research chemist at ExxonMobil at that time it was Exxon. Turned into ExxonMobil Process Research Labs in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
So Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Okay.
And that's where you met Monty.
It is. Monty and I have bonded because he remembers when I was in Baton Rouge.
Indeed.
Wait, so what did you do there exactly?
So I was a research scientist, so some of the chemistry that I did in graduate school, then I worked on the processes to refine crude oil into motor oil. So I worked on lubricants, motor oil, as well as diesel fuel. So there was a lot. We could have a whole podcast on
so cool.
Fuels, alternative fuels.
Okay.
Yes.
What's your favorite fuel?
Say what
What's your favorite fuel?
Well, that's interesting. Probably diesel. And if you're aware, in really cold weather, diesel. So what I had to do was, we worked on catalysts. So I worked on metals and catalyst molecules that helped break down some of the larger molecules in the crude oil, turn it into the boiling point range of diesel fuel. But it had to have a certain structure within it so it wouldn't freeze. Diesel fuel is pretty heavy, and you have to measure the cloud point and the pour point of diesel fuel. And so if it's not low enough and it freezes, it's bad for your engine. So we would have to do, if you're a scientist, I summarize it a little bit more. You add a few more branches to those long carbon chains.
Wait, so how did you get from that job to the one that you have currently?
So that's the whole question, right?
Yeah.
So I thought I always wanted to be in industry, but I didn't love it there, and it was interesting, but surprisingly, there weren't very many women, and there was a lot of engineering, a lot of process. I was inside a refinery. We had a research lab inside a big refinery, and it bothered me more than I thought that there weren't very many women there. And again, it was very competitive, and I just didn't enjoy it. That's why I did. But what I did enjoy was I did a lot of outreach, science outreach, and Exxon had a lot of relationships with the schools that were nearby, and I really liked that. And one of my supervisors said, "Hey, you really like that. Have you thought about going into teaching?" So I remembered back then, I was in 7th grade, I said I wanted to be a teacher. And then when I was in high school is when I really started to like chemistry, and I decided I wanted to go into chemistry. But I didn't say I wanted to be a chemistry teacher. Okay. But so it kind of went full circle. And then at this time, I had my first child, and my husband finished his terminal degree, and he was ready to look for his job. And so there's a lot of factors that go into, when you have a dual career couple. And so he knew he was going to go into academia, and he wanted to be a professor, and his area is history. So he started looking for jobs. We started looking for jobs together, and I knew at that time I would start looking at academic jobs to be a professor or whatnot. And so we started to look together, and he got his position here in Terre Haute at Indiana State University before I found the job at the Woods. And so we decided we were going to come back to the Midwest. And so we had our first child, all of our family was in the Midwest. And we said, okay, this job at Indiana State is going to be good for him. I'll start looking around, about 100 miles around, something I could commute to. And I had applied at Indiana State, or just inquired, didn't have any openings, but I inquired with the chemistry department, and they said, I think there's an opening at the Woods. I'm like, oh, I'd never heard of St. Mary of the Woods College. My husband had, because he's from Danville, Illinois. I had never heard of St. Mary of the Woods. I applied, and it was for chemistry and physics. And so they, invited me to do the interview, and I came and did a side interview. Probably in March or April. Anyway, it's May, and we've made the commitment, we're moving to Terre Haute, but I still didn't have the job. And so, but we came and then got the call, and I got the job. So I was a chemistry professor here for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Before I became the provost.
Interesting.
What was the funniest thing that ever happened in your classroom?
Oh gosh. surely there's something we blew up in the chem lab.
Oh,
That's exactly
sure.
what I wanted.
Yes.
I do remember at Purdue, when I was a TA, we had to stir, do you remember the yellow sulfur, yellow powder, bright yellow powder? Well, if you heat it up, I don't remember what we heated it up with, but you had to heat up in a test tube this yellow sulfur, you had to stir it vigorously. And so my students were stirring their test tube of this liquid and this yellow sulfur vigorously, and I'm standing there watching, and then boom, the bottom of the test tube falls out, big fire. And then it went away just as fast as it started. So I ended up being a professor before I became the provost, and I was the chair of the department for a while. And then when Dottie King, our former president, she and I were professors together.
Oh, really?
She was math professor.
Oh, was she actually?
She was. So she was math professor when I arrived, and so we taught together, and then she became the assistant dean and the VPAA when our other VPA had retired and moved on. So when she moved up to interim president, she appointed me or asked me if I would serve as the, at that time we didn't call it the provost, we just called it VPAA.
What did you want to be when you were a kid?
Like I said earlier, I wanted to be a teacher. I thought I'd be an elementary school teacher. I know.
My mom's an elementary teacher.
So was mine.
Oh,
Wow, look at us.
I know. So again, I stayed in teaching a little bit, and then when I got to high school, I decided I wanted to be a scientist. And it was my, I don't know, probably two different teachers. My Algebra 2 teacher in high school.
Do you still remember their name?
Mr. Lukemeyer, something like that. Isn't that funny how you remember every teacher? That's how impactful teachers are.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, every person you go ask them, they know the names of their teachers from their K to like high school.
Yeah.
So I think that's important for I feel like not enough value today is put on teachers and the really important role. I have learned to be a really good writer in this job. I didn't really think, because I wrote very scientific. And so the first few times I would write reports, people would write back, you forgot a few words.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't use like the or a, And I wrote sentences in my thesis like, 5 milliliters of tantalum pentachloride was added to this Erlenmeyer flask, 150 milliliter Erlenmeyer flask, period. There's no fluff.
No.
So I had to learn to be a better storyteller.
Do you think that's one of the things that, do you think that's one of the main skills that Woods has added to you?
Yes. I also think it's just relating to people. I never expected to be in a leadership role, really. And I joke that if I knew that, I'd go back and get a degree in organizational behavior. I mean, now, I don't think Yes, it is. I am done going to school. I graduated from the 21st grade.
No, I think you're good.
I'm not, but no, some days understanding people, their personalities, how to, motivate them. I've really learned how to do that, how to be a team, work on a team. I've worked on teams to do science, but it's not the same as helping people, who are running a school, where you're really trying to work with people. And we're in the people business, President Randolph likes to say.
The people's.
The people business.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
And people are all individuals.
True circle.
Here's my other favorite thing I used to do with my students, and then I don't know if you have other real things you want to ask me. I would make them, if you could spell your name with periodic table elements, the abbreviations of elements, you could be in my secret club. So, Clark can be spelled with chlorine, argon, and potassium.
What is potassium again?
K.
That's
Clark.
right. Yeah.
K.
I was started thinking, I was like, is potassium really K? No,
Yeah,
it's K.
It is.
That wouldn't sound right to me.
So, Blake, there aren't
Yeah.
very many. Oh, boron,
Yeah,
lanthanum.
sure.
There's no Ke, and there's no plain E. There's a K,
Potassium.
but I don't know if there's not a plain E. There's ES. We just call you Blakes.
Yeah.
Multiple of him.
Or Blaker.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
an ER
yeah,
or
yeah.
Blaked. I don't know.
Blake.
I don't think there's ED. There's EB. There's erbium. Anyway.
Well.
So now go home and see if you can put your first or your last name. Well, I love to read, and I read as relaxation now. I like to read fiction.
Can't read my stuff.
Because like I said, this job is hard, so I want to go home and just go into something else and go into someone else's world.
What's your favorite book?
Oh boy.
Top 3.
Oh, I don't know. Because I just read cheap, fast fiction now.
As you should.
Yeah.
Fast
Understood.
fiction.
So I mean, I'll go through like a book a weekend.
Really?
Interesting. I do like, I do like to read some of the thriller mysteries. Patterson. Sometimes I'll read Tom Clancy, but sometimes they're too heavy.
You doubt my skills.
I worked in the library when I was in high school.
Did
That
you?
was my very first job ever.
Really?
Was I worked at the library in our small town. I grew up in a very small town, small high school, and so we had a little Carnegie Library. Do you know what those are? Yes, you do. I'm sure Chrislyn does. And so we had the little thing where you had a library card.
Yeah.
And you had to run it through the thing and stamp the card and put in it's due here. So you took the library card out, you stamped who checked it out, you put in the date that book was due, and you handed them over.
Yep.
So I would check in all the books, check out the books, had to reshelve all the books. It was the best job ever. I mean, maybe that's if I could go back. I don't know, libraries aren't the same today. So,
All right. That was my first job as well. Dr. Clark, thank you for being here and sharing your multitudinous wisdom with us.
You are welcome.
We very much appreciate it, and we hope you have a very good day. And we will see you all on the next episode of Career Convos Beyond the Resume. We'll see you later.